Welcome to Simulation.Bio's podcast. Today we're doing a deep dive into something pretty fascinating in the cosmetics world.
We're looking at consumer feedback, specifically around fragrance.
Yeah, how do you actually figure out what people really think about the scents in their products?
It's huge, isn't it? I mean, the data really shows that fragrance isn't just, a nice extra. It can be the deciding factor for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And you see it in the reviews online, right? People go into detail describing smells, how it made them feel, even when they use it.
So much detail. It's gold dust for R&D and marketing teams.
But the problem is the sheer amount of it. Trying to manually process thousands of reviews describing scents, it's almost impossible to do properly.
That's really the bottleneck. How do you find the real insights hidden in all that text?
Yeah.
That's where something like AI becomes, well, essential.
Exactly. And that brings us to CosmetiQ, which is Simulation.Bio's AI co-pilot. The idea is it lets those R&D and marketing folks basically talk to their data.
Yeah, have a conversation with consumer opinions, but at scale. It cuts through the noise.
So in this deep dive, we're focusing on a really cool new part of CosmetiQ, the fragrance intelligence feature.
We want to show you how it takes all that raw feedback about scent and turns it into something actionable.
Insights you can actually use for developing new products or sharpening your marketing messages.
We thought the best way to do this is to sort of walk you through it, like an interactive demo.
Okay, sounds good. Let's dive in. How does it start?
Well, it starts simply. Let's say you're wondering if people with different skin types, like dry versus oily, prefer different kinds of fragrances. A really common question.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So what do I do?
You just type that question into the CosmetiQ chat interface,
Hmm.
like you're texting a colleague. So you'd type, distribution of most common fragrance profiles among people with dry skin versus oily skin.
Right, just type it in plain English.
Exactly. And then you hit enter.
And then what happens?
Instantly, you get visual feedback. An overlay pops up, centered on the screen, with that familiar spinning circle.
The thinking icon.
Right, and it says clearly, CosmetiQ is analyzing, so you know it's working on your question straight away.
Okay, standard loading screen stuff.
Well, yes, but here's the clever bit. Underneath that loader, there's a live feed. It actually shows you the steps CosmetiQ is taking in real time.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
You might see things like querying database for reviews, then maybe filtering data for skin type mentions, analyzing fragrance profile co-occurrence. It's like a little window into its process.
So it's not just a black box. You can see how it's getting the answer.
Precisely. We call it the thought trace. It really helps build trust because you understand the reasoning. You see the logic unfolding.
I like that. Transparency is good. Okay, so it finishes analyzing.
And the overlay changes. The spinner stops, and it updates to CosmetiQ as analyzed. And importantly, a View Results button appears and becomes clickable.
Got it. So I click that.
Yep. Imagine clicking View Results now.
Okay, clicked it. What do I see?
The results appear right there in the chat thread. It feels, conversational, a bit like ChatGPT, but focused on your cosmetic data.
So it's not just raw numbers.
Yeah, no. It synthesizes the information.
Yeah.
You might get some text explaining the main findings, maybe some key insights highlighted.
And probably tables or charts.
Absolutely. For our question about skin types, you'd likely see a table. Imagine it listing fragrance families. Citrus, floral, aromatic, fruity, woody, maybe down the side.
Okay.
And then columns for dry skin and oily skin, showing the percentage of mentions for each family within those groups. It would also show the sample size, like say N103 for dry skin reviews and 67 for oily.
Right. So what might that table show us in this example?
Well, it could be quite revealing. You might see, for instance, that for dry skin reviewers, citrus scents are mentioned, like way more often. Maybe over 50% mention citrus.
Oh, wow. That's pretty dominant.
Yeah. But then for the oily skin group, it might be more balanced. Perhaps floral and citrus are neck and neck, each getting about a third of the mentions.
Interesting. Any other patterns?
You might see fruity and aromatic notes kind of in the middle for both groups, but maybe woody notes pop up a bit more for dry skin, while soft floral notes are more of a thing for the oily skin reviewers, even if it's a smaller group.
Okay, so what does that actually mean for a product team?
Good question. Well, that strong signal for citrus with dry skin, that suggests maybe you should lean into citrus accords for products targeting that audience. Explore different types of citrus scents.
Makes sense. And for oily skin?
The split suggests both floral and citrus are pretty safe bets. You've got more flexibility. And that niche preference for soft floral, maybe that's an angle for a specific product line extension.
And the fruit aromatic notes.
They seem to have broader appeal, so they could work well as supporting notes in fragrances for either group, just to round things out.
Okay. And cosmetic gives context, right? Like where this data comes from.
Yes, definitely. It would clarify, for instance, that this analysis is based on, say, essence and serum reviews, where people actually mentioned a specific scent family, filtering out the unsure ones to keep it focused.
Got it. And the conversation doesn't just stop there, does it?
No, that's another neat feature. Below the answer, CosmetiQ offers clickable follow-up questions. It anticipates what you might want to ask next.
Type what?
For this skin type query, it might suggest, would you like to see how scent intensity or pleasantness ratings differ between the two skin groups?
Ah, so you can just click that and keep digging deeper.
Exactly. It encourages that exploration, building on what you just learned.
Cool. Can we run through another example, maybe about intensity?
Sure. Let's say you want a broader view. You could ask, what is the perceived scent intensity across different fragrance profiles?
Okay, type that in, hit enter, see the analyzing overlay, the thought trace.
Right. And then the results appear. This time, maybe a table showing fragrance families again, floral, aromatic, fruity, maybe watermarine, citrus green.
And maybe categories for people who didn't specify.
Yeah, good point. Not specified or unsure could be important categories. And alongside each, you'd see the number of reviews and an average intensity score. Let's say on a scale of level 1 for unscented up to 3 for strong.
So what insights might pop out there?
You might find that overall, for serums and essences, the average intensity is quite low, maybe around 0.7 to zero point 0.9, suggesting people generally prefer lighter scents in these products.
Okay.
You might also see a high number of reviews in those not specified or unsure buckets.
What would that suggest?
It could mean a few things.
Mhm.
Maybe a preference for really subtle scents or even fragrance-free. Or perhaps the scent just wasn't memorable or important enough for many people to comment on for that product type.
Interesting point. Any other intensity insights?
Well, maybe a category like Oriental scents shows a higher average intensity.
Hmm.
But CosmetiQ would also show you the sample size. If only a handful of reviews mentioned Oriental, you'd know not to read too much into that high average.
Right. Context is key. And follow-up questions.
Yep. You might get suggestions like, would you like to explore which fragrance families score highest on pleasantness? Or see how intensity preferences differ by age or gender tag.
Or even
Identify products that manage a stronger scent but are still perceived positively. Lots of directions to go.
Okay, one more quick one. Let's say I want a strong scent, but it has to be pleasant. How do I figure out what ingredients might work?
Ah, good one. You could ask. Among reviews that describe the fragrance as strong but pleasant, which active ingredients show up most often?
So CosmetiQ filters for reviews matching strong and pleasant scent descriptions.
Yeah, exactly. And then it looks within those specific reviews to see which active ingredients are mentioned most frequently.
What might it find?
It might pull up a list. Let's say there were 118 reviews matching that description. It might show niacinamide appearing in, say, 27% of them.
Okay, so niacinamide is prominent.
Right. Then maybe hyaluronic acid, ascorbyl glucoside, a form of vitamin C, peptides, maybe Centella asiatica extract, appearing less frequently but still present.
So the key insight there could be a link between niacinamide and scents perceived as strong yet pleasant.
Potentially. It doesn't prove causation, of course, but it's a strong correlation. Maybe the known benefits of niacinamide make people more accepting of, or even positive towards, a stronger scent profile in those products. It's a hypothesis worth exploring.
And the follow-ups here might be,
Things like, would you like to look at the specific products that combine niacinamide with a pleasant scent to see actual examples?
or maybe,
Compare this with reviews where the strong scent is disliked to see what ingredients show up when it goes wrong.
fascinating. So, as we've seen, CosmetiQ really acts like this translator, doesn't it? Turning all that messy consumer opinion into something clear.
Exactly. Actionable intelligence. It helps R&D, helps marketing, helps them understand the sensory world of their consumers much, much better.
And the benefits seem pretty clear. Faster product development cycles, maybe.
Definitely. You can identify promising scent directions much earlier.
Sharper marketing messages, too, I guess.
Yeah, messages that actually resonate with how people feel about the scents. And it fuels data-driven ideas, not just guesswork.
Leading to products that hopefully hit the mark more often.
That's the goal. Precision positioning, based on real feedback.
And this is all built on Simulation.Bio's background, right? Their AI platform, iCorrect.
That's right. They have deep expertise in AI, generative AI specifically, and tons of experience helping companies make sense of complex data.
So this isn't just theory, it's being used.
Oh yeah. Companies are using this kind of granular insight right now to make smarter decisions about fragrance and product strategy.
So for anyone listening, it's worth thinking about how could this change your work?
Yeah, imagine really understanding the nuances of how your consumers perceive fragrance in your products.
What if you could truly hear what they're saying about the sensory experience, guiding everything from formulation,
Right through to the final marketing copy. It's about moving beyond just intuition.
using actual data to inform those creative and scientific decisions? If this sounds interesting and you want to see how Cosmetic could tackle your specific challenges,
We definitely encourage you to book a demo. See it with your own data,
yes,
perhaps.
how can people do that?
Easiest way is to email info@icorex.ai or just visit the website www.simulation.bio.
Great. Well, this has been a really insightful deep dive.
Thanks for joining us. We hope it's given you a good sense of how AI like CosmetiQ is changing the game for understanding fragrance in cosmetics.